right. I'd like to call to order the Sacramento Environmental Commission October meeting. Jill, can you please take roll call?
Laura Nickerson, Stephanie Holstich,
Here.
Christine Casey,
Here.
Dr. Anthony DeRigi,
Here.
Richard Hunn,
Here.
Eugene Lee,
Here.
Gage Marchini,
Here.
Jacqueline Todak,
Here.
Mark White.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. The next item is we'd like to just do an introduction of all of the commissioners for everyone present here today. So we'll start with Gage on the left.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gage Marchini. I am an attorney at Abbott and Kinderman. I do environmental law and land use, and I am a Sacramento County appointee to the commission.
Good evening. I'm Richard Hunn. I was appointed by Sacramento County, and I'm a retired environmental planner.
I'm Stephanie Holstich. I'm a senior environmental scientist with the State Water Resources Control Board, and I'm the vice chair on this commission, and I'm appointed by the City of Sacramento.
Good evening, Christine Casey. I'm an appointee of Sacramento County, and I'm Deputy Secretary for Freight Policy at the California State Transportation Agency.
Jacqueline Todak. I'm appointed by the City of Sacramento, and I'm a Senior Environmental Project Manager.
Hi, I'm Mark White. I was formerly a consultant of the garbage industry, now retired. Appointed by the county.
Hello, I'm Eugene Lee, representing the City of Elk Grove, retired from the California Energy Commission.
I'm Tony DeRigi, a retired pediatrician representing the City of Sacramento. I worked on the Kaiser Permanente Environmental Stewardship Program.
Thank you. So the next item is public comment. I don't know if there's anyone present that would like to provide public comments at this time, or anyone online. Great. So we'll move into the Sacramento Environmental Commission Environmental Awards. Thank you all for coming, and we're excited to honor and recognize citizens, businesses, and organizations based in Sacramento County that have demonstrated outstanding efforts to improve, protect, and steward environmental resources. We're going to be presenting 3 trophies to winners of this year's environmental awards in no particular order. And I'll be announcing the first award. So the first winner is the Wildlife Care Association for Outstanding Environmental Stewardship. With the help of a small number of paid employees and approximately 250 volunteers, the Wildlife Care Association is open 365 days a year, accepting injured and orphaned wildlife free of charge and caring for them with the ultimate goal of releasing them back into the wild. The Wildlife Care Association takes in animals from the public as well as animal control agencies and maintains detailed annual statistics on species intakes, survival rates, and release rates. In 2023, the Wildlife Care Association received and cared for nearly 7,000 animals and is on track to receive even more in 2024. Between 3,000 and 4,000 of the animals received that otherwise may have died are released back into the Sacramento area annually. The Wildlife Care Association maintains a hotline that the public can call if they find an animal in need and have questions about intervention and care. The Wildlife Care Association cares for approximately 340 different species of mammals and birds each year, filling an enormous gap for injured wildlife rehabilitation in the Sacramento area. Accepting the awards is Teresa Bylaski on behalf of the members of the Wildlife Care Association. So at this time, please come forward to the podium to accept the reward, and you're welcome to say a few words about your organization if you would like, and I'll meet you down there to hand out the first award.
Hello. Okay. So I also asked 2 other board members to come down with me. Lisa Burns is one of our board members, and Jody is our vice president / treasurer till we find a treasurer. But anyways, we first of all want to thank you guys for all that you do, and thank you for recognizing us. Next year will be our 50th year, actually, in business. We're one of the longest running animal nonprofits in the state of California. So we're pretty proud of that. We're happy to do what we do because we're passionate about animals and the environment, and doing what we can to make sure that when we take a walk down by the river or whatever it might be, but to keep this area wonderful with keeping the ecosystem intact. And we really appreciate the award. It's awesome.
Okay, our next award winner is Jamie Stevenson for Outstanding Environmental Leadership. Jamie from Girl Scouts Heart of Central California, Troop 238, planted 25 trees in October of 2023 with the help of 50 volunteers, including the Sacramento Tree Foundation and the City of Folsom. Only 14 years old at the time, she organized this effort as a project to address the global issue of climate change, which causes warmer temperatures and rising sea levels. The project took 2 years from planning to completion. She planted the trees in a local park and a common gathering area so local residents would benefit from the shade and beauty. She committed to providing care for the trees for 3 years, including watering them in the summers and visiting year-round to check on tree health. Jamie would like to recognize her troop leaders, Katie Keith, Larissa Tong, and Claudine Niski, as well as her mentor, Folsom Council member YK Chalam Cherla, and her school counselor, Jenny Cha, for their assistance and support. Jenny, at this time, please come to the podium to accept your award and say a few words about your project if you would like.
Hello, thank you so much for this award. This recognition really means a lot as I put a lot of work into this. Again, I'm thankful for my mentors, including my troop leader, Katie, Claudine, and my mentor, YK, who provided guidance and support through this journey. And thank you so much for this award, and have a wonderful day.
Yes. Yeah, one.
The final award winner is Splash for Outstanding Environmental Leadership and Education. Over the past 23 years, Splash has partnered with many municipalities on education and outreach to communities about the importance of stormwater, pollution prevention, and watershed protection, and has connected nearly 105,000 students with nature, often for the first time in their lives. Splash has trained over 450 teachers on how to make science fun, while inspiring a student's curiosity. Splash's education programs in 2023 connected with 18,620 students and 579 teachers. Their climate-centered Youth Environmental Leadership Camp serves many campers from Title I schools and introduces 6th and 7th graders to eco-centric career opportunities. Splash maintains a set of approximately 40 animal ambassadors to assist with vernal pool and grassland instruction. These animals were either injured or kept as pets and cannot be released into the wild. In 2023, 546 attendees took tours of the vernal pools. Splash attended educational events where over 7,000 people interacted with their educational booth. The project AWE, which stands for Agriculture, Water, Energy, and Environment, hosted 43 school field trips for approximately 7,000 students at the Nicholas Dairy in Elk Grove. Topics at those field trips included water conservation, pollinators, organic farming, and vermicomposting. Splash has done a tremendous job providing outreach and educating our communities about environmental topics. Accepting the award on behalf of Splash is Mackenzie Weiser. Please come to the podium to say a few words if you'd like.
I would like to thank our board member Eugene Lee for encouraging us to apply for this award. My name is Mackenzie Weiser, CEO of Sacramento Splash. Thank you for rattling off all of our statistics. I won't repeat it, but our only mission in the world is to help children understand and value our natural world through outdoor educational experiences to which they just don't have enough access to. So we couldn't do it without the help of all of the teachers and supporters of our programs. So we're just happy to accept the award and appreciate you all for your hard work in caring for the environment and keeping it open for us. Thank you.
While everybody's sitting down, can I make just one comment? I was on the committee that reviewed all these applications. The thing that strikes me when I see all of you in front of me and hear your stories at one time is the passion and the amount of time this has been going on in our community. And honestly, I didn't know about most of it. You guys are wonderful. Keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you. And do any other commissioners want to add any comments at this time?
I just want to echo what's been said and thank you all for your work in the community. And I also was on the committee and second, just really enjoy seeing what all you are doing. And it's very inspiring. You know, people think we're on the Sacramento Environmental Commission and we're at the forefront, but we see people out in the community doing these things. And it's like, oh, I want to go volunteer for WCA. I saw the picture of the cute animals on there. I love possums. I want to go hang out with some possums. So yes, thank you again for all that you've done. And are there any other comments that we might close out our 2023 environmental awards, 2024?
I just want to thank you all. What you do is important. You know, next week is an election day, right? But I'm always reminded when you're involved in climate work, every day is an election day. Every day is an Earth Day. And you folks know that, right? And so go forth and continue to do these great things every day. We're so proud of you.
All right, well, that concludes the 2024 Environmental Awards. Thank you all again for being here and for all of the hard work that you do for our environment. So the next item on the agenda is an update on health of the county by Dr. Kasiri with the Sacramento County Public Health Public Officer.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am Dr. Olivia Kasiri, County Public Health Officer, here to give you an update. It's supposed to be the health, but actually all I'm going to talk to you about is the things that keep us up at night. But again, our concern is to make sure that we manage outbreaks and make sure that we inform people about dangers that are out there. So it seems like this time all of my updates are about viruses. I'll start with the avian flu or bird flu or H5N1. It's a flu, influenza A virus. Has been around for several years, and from time to time we have had notification coming to us from the state about bird flocks that are impacted or individuals that work with birds that may have been exposed, and we have to monitor them. What has made it different most recently is that the virus was detected in milk, raw milk, and it was also noticed that there were cow herds that were getting impacted, they were getting ill. And also we started seeing human cases among farm workers that were working with these sick cattle. As of the 15th, there have about 304 herds in 14 states that have been impacted by this. California being the largest milk producer with a little over 1,000 dairy farms, there was a lot of concern, and for a while all of the cases that were occurring were within the Midwest. But within the last few weeks, we started seeing infected herds within California, most of them within the central, actually all of them have been within the Central Valley. And we started also getting reports of individuals that were getting sick. So far, again, this is from the 15th, 11 dairy workers within California from 9 different farms have been identified with H5N1. So far, the human illnesses have been mild and mostly limited to conjunctivitis, which is inflammation in the eyes, and there have been no hospitalizations. But definitely the concern for us in public health is that we know that viruses do tend to mutate, and we also are coming into the flu season. So the biggest concern is, can this virus become more virulent? Can it become cause more severe disease? And also, is there an opportunity, a chance that there might be some mixture between the regular flu and this bird flu, which could result in a much more severe disease or severe outbreak? So those are the concerns, and that's the main reason why we are doing a lot of this monitoring and trying to prevent as much spread as possible. But definitely for those who work with farms, I guess you know that there's a lot of movement that goes back and forth between those herds. We're learning a lot about the business and how things run and how difficult it is to actually isolate. The state has been distributing personal protective equipment, but it's also not very easy to use, especially during the summer. It was not easy for these farm workers to use wearing goggles, masks, and gowns and gloves in over 100-degree weather. So the use has been limited, but definitely I think being able to monitor and also being able to assist and provide this PPE helps a little bit in preventing the spread. We're continuing to monitor. We have not heard of any cases within Sacramento. We just have a few farms within Sacramento, but definitely we're looking at that and monitoring. And the major focus right now for the farm workers is to make sure that at least they get the regular flu vaccine, because as I said, part of our concern is if perchance there's a mixture of these viruses and ending up with a more severe disease. The next one is Marburg. A lot of people have never heard about this. It's an old disease, fortunately rare, but if any of you remember Ebola a few years ago, this is in the same category. It is also a virus that causes hemorrhagic fever. There is an outbreak in Rwanda, in Africa, and it was first reported at the end of September. And as of the 15th, there are 62 cases, including 15 deaths. So this one is more deadly. So far, no reported cases outside of Rwanda, but definitely we know that people do travel. We know that there are healthcare workers that have gone in to assist. And we also know that several of those 62 cases were actually healthcare workers. So the CDC has implemented the same kind of surveillance that we did for Ebola, where if individuals are returning from Rwanda, especially if they've been gone to any hospital or done any work around sick people, that they will be monitored when they return, and also they are being directed to 3 main airport hubs so that the contact information can be collected, and then that goes to the state and goes to the county. Right now, we are not monitoring anybody, but definitely we're on the lookout if we do get reports from the CDC through the state that we will be ready to monitor these individuals. There is no treatment, there is no vaccine. So the only protection we have, if we had a case, would be able to identify that person very quickly so that there's no spread of the disease. Then we have regular viruses. We're coming into the winter season, and these viruses, of course, the rates go up. With the flu, the rates are still low, but we know that usually they start going up after Thanksgiving, probably because that's when everybody gets together. And in addition to sharing turkey, there's also sharing of other stuff like viruses. So definitely we're encouraging people to get vaccinated before they do any travel, because a lot of times the cases we get are related to travel. We do anticipate an average flu season, but of course, and that of course is based on reports that we're getting from other countries and other places like Asia. But definitely it's very early on, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. We're told that there is a new rapid test that can check for both COVID-19 and the flu, and it's a home kit. So that will help a lot, because we know how much that helped with COVID when we were able to provide the home kits. People could test at home, didn't have to go into the ED, didn't have to go to the healthcare provider, and that really helped in limiting spread. So it has been authorized, but I don't know what the distribution is, but that's something that people can look out for. With COVID, we had a very busy summer. Fortunately, those numbers have come down now, both with the number of positive cases we're getting, the hospitalizations, as well as the surveillance that we get with the wastewater. We do know that there is a new variant, XEC. It's also still a subvariant of, or subvariant of Omicron. It seems like each one that comes up seems to be able to spread more easily. But fortunately now there are a lot of people that have either full immunity or partial immunity, either from vaccination or from previous infections. And so even though this is a new variant, we anticipate that most people will have at least partial protection. There is still concern for those that have reduced immune systems, people with diseases like diabetes, lung diseases. So we still encourage people, especially those that are at high risk for severe disease, to make sure that they get the updated COVID vaccine. And then with RSV, a few years ago, we did have a very severe season. Fortunately, last year was much milder. And fortunately, also, there is a vaccine that's available now. RSV is the respiratory syncytial virus. Usually it affects young children, infants. And so, of course, the danger there is that they can get complications like pneumonia and other complications that can lead to severe disease or even death. So very important that we protect those that are at highest risk. So vaccine is available also for adults because they're at risk as well with reduced immune systems, and also for those with underlying conditions that put them at risk. And then for babies, the focus is on being able to vaccinate pregnant women so that when the baby is born, they have already received that protection from their mother. And then there's also an antibody that can be given to newborns and infants. And so all of that is available right now in hospitals, and so encourage those that identify in any of those categories to make sure that they get the appropriate vaccine. So rabies, an old disease, also very rare. I brought this up this time because not too long ago, we had a situation where we had a visitor to the zoo. They were actually just kind of walking around near a playground, and then these skunks started chasing them, and one of the skunks actually bit one of the individuals. So when you see an animal, a wild animal that is acting very aggressive, that could be an indication that that animal has rabies. And unfortunately, bats and skunks are the most common carriers, at least that we have, though it can occur in any mammals. So that's why we encourage people that have pets, cats and dogs. There is a vaccine available to make sure that their pets are up to date on vaccination. But anyway, in this situation, the zoo officials were notified about the bite, and so they captured 4 skunks, a total of 4 skunks, and 2 of them tested positive. So we had to put the word out because, of course, the Land Park area is an area that a lot of families visit. There are a lot of very beautiful parks there. The weather has been beautiful, so we anticipate that a lot of people will be out there. And so we wanted them to be aware that there is this concern about rabies in skunks. And so in putting that out, what we need people to do, one, is if they see an animal that is looking sick, is acting very aggressive, has neurological symptoms, maybe can't walk, or if it's an animal that's supposed to be out during the night and it's out during the day, all of those are warning signs that there might be something wrong with this animal. We ask that people don't try to help the animal because oftentimes we hear of people saying, oh, but it looks so cute and it was sick and I thought maybe it needed to get some water. All of those are things that you should not do. If you see an animal that's sick, you need to call animal control because they know what to do. They can safely make sure that they capture that animal and make the appropriate, take the appropriate steps to protect the community. So one other thing that we were asked about was whether it's safe for people to walk their pets, and I want to say yes. You can still walk your pets. Make sure that your pets are on a leash, and make sure that your pets are up to date on their vaccination. And I included this map because one of the questions we were asked is how often do we get positives? So these are the positive skunks that have been captured so far within Sacramento. And you can see that the area they're in, so it's not just Land Park. I think it's just important for us to know that there is rabies still around and to be aware and to take the appropriate steps. We usually get maybe about 15 to 20 positive animals, and that includes skunks and bats usually. But we have had positive foxes in a couple of, I think it was Rancho Cordova area. So again, it's out there, it's rare, but it's something that we can control. If a person does get bitten by an animal that may have rabies, it's very important for them to seek medical care because we have a vaccine that can be provided. Usually the vaccine is provided pre-exposure to people that work with animals, so people that work in the zoo, people that work at animal control, or at the vet. Those are people that usually get it pre-exposure, but we also can give it post-exposure for those that have been bitten. You cannot wait till you get symptoms because then it's too late. We don't have treatment for it. And rabies can be a very dangerous illness. In fact, once you start getting symptoms, almost always leads to death. I think there's been only one report or two of people that have been able to get to be saved after developing symptoms. So very important. And again, this includes bats as well. We've had situations where children find a bat and they think it's very cute and they pick it up. And then we've ended up having to vaccinate like a whole classroom of children. So very important to educate children that however cute the wild animal may look, please don't touch it. So that's the end of my presentation. I did want to mention a couple of things that might be of interest to you. And I think in previous presentations, I have told you about public health accreditation. This is a national accreditation system that we have been pursuing for quite a while now, and we had to put it off during COVID, but started again post-COVID, and very appreciative for the help that we got from our environmental health partners, because a lot of the information that we had to collect, actually part of it, especially when it came to enforcement, it's information that we had to get from environmental health. So they were there with us, and I think they did a fantastic job in providing the information we needed as well as the responses. We are hoping that by the end of this year, we will get some good news, so definitely I will let you know. Lastly, just something that, again, you may have heard of in the news, that might be of interest to you, and that is because of the hurricanes that occurred earlier on in North Carolina and Florida. This affected factories that provide us with intravenous fluids, and so there's been a shortage, nationwide shortage, and our hospitals have had to figure out ways of actually being able to make sure that they utilize the supplies that they have, but also be able to get additional supplies. And so they've been working both locally at the state level and national level to make sure that hospitals got the IV fluids they needed. So far, from the monitoring we're doing with the hospitals, they've been able to keep going without having to cancel any surgeries, because as soon as we mentioned that, everyone was like, "Ooh, that's, something they just didn't want to revisit again," because they saw the issues that resulted from delayed care for individuals. So far, they've been able to continue providing all of the surgeries and all of the care, but definitely it's a tenuous situation that we continue to monitor. So with that, I don't know if there are any questions for me.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to come here in person and give us this annual update. And I appreciate the reminder about handling animals. I used to do white nose syndrome swabbing for bats, so definitely leave it to the professionals. I'll turn it over if any commissioners have any questions or comments. Mark?
I don't know why I keep getting into this topic, but I do. But you raised it, the wastewater testing. To me, that is such a wonderful way of learning things. Are you looking at other than just the rabies issues in wastewater? Are you looking at other?
So for rabies, we're not looking for it in wastewater. So for the wastewater surveillance, it's been mainly things like the COVID, the flu. Of course, if Marburg ever shows up, which I hope it never does, but if it does, that's something that we will be monitoring for as well.
Thank you. Do you expect that this whole monitoring program will expand significantly with improved lab methods and maybe lower costs?
I hope so, because I think it has helped us a lot with continuing to get good information about the trends that we're seeing, especially with things like COVID. Because now with the home testing, a lot of people end up, or even people that get mild disease, may not end up in healthcare, and so we don't get those test results. But surveillance is not dependent on whether someone goes to the doctor or not. So it's very good information, and my hope is that it will continue to improve. We are fortunate that we do have it here in Sacramento, so it provides us with a lot of good information.
Are you able to get any sense of the number of people infected at a given time by the concentration of what they're measuring?
The scientists can, and I would probably ask them. They can give an estimate. It's not really the best way that we use it for. It's more for us to look at whether a new virus has occurred, whether there's a new variant that has occurred, and also what the trends are. They do say that they can use it to estimate, but it's an estimate.
Thank you. As usual, wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up question. Dr. Kisiri, on the sewage testing for COVID and flu, do you only test at the regional treatment plant, or do you test upstream at different parts of the community so you can isolate different neighborhoods or cities or areas of the county?
It's not easy to do it to that level of neighborhoods. We don't have it at that point right now, so it's more at the treatment plant level.
Is it possible to move it upstream and different areas of the county, or is that even a consideration?
I'm not aware of that. It is run through the state, so I can definitely ask them that question. But so far now, it's more of a general county surveillance.
Okay, thank you.
I have one more follow-up. Is it costly?
Right now, for the county, it's not costing us. And so I would have to ask the state. And so that, again, that's why I said it's very fortunate that we have this, because you don't often get that kind of good service without having to pay anything.
And I've just got a quick question. Is the H5N1, are you protected against it with the current round of flu vaccines?
No, and they are in the process of producing a vaccine. I don't know how far they are with it. And as I mentioned, the reason that we are encouraging the farm workers to get vaccinated against the regular flu is we're trying to prevent a scenario where you have somebody who has both, and with the opportunity for them to mix, because it seems like that's one of the things they're good at. And thank you. I forgot to mention one thing. I did mention that it was detected in raw milk. And so a lot of people have asked us questions, is it safe for me to drink the milk that I buy from the grocery store? If it's pasteurized, it is safe. It's our only concern is for those that choose to drink, to take raw milk, because then they do run the risk of actually getting that infection.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the presentation.
I have one question.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Appreciate your presentation. Several months ago, we had received a presentation from the mosquito and vector control. And I was wondering, now that summer is over, do you have any kind of evaluation or conclusions of this past season and transmitted diseases through that?
You're talking about West Nile virus, is
yes.
that? Yeah. It was what I would call a regular season. It wasn't too high, but I can definitely get you the numbers on how many cases we got. I did not bring that.
Thanks. I think Christine had some questions and comments as well.
Thank you for the presentation. I always appreciate I made the comment about wanting to touch possums in the last thing and play with them, so I always do appreciate the reminder to not pick up cute animals. And joking aside, it does work, because I did see that article in the SACB about rabid skunks at the zoo, and my friend was talking about an animal in her backyard, and the first thing I said was, is it supposed to be there? Is it acting weird? So this educational campaign is very helpful. I had a question. Oh, and then I guess another comment. While I always appreciate this, it is slightly terrifying. I don't know how you do what you do. I know last year we were talking about monkeypox, and this year we're talking about hemorrhagic fever. So I appreciate it, but it always makes me take a deep breath, because if I think too much about it, it's very concerning, all the ways that we can be injured by viruses. But you mentioned the occurrence of rabies in the county with the chart, and you said 15 to 20. Is that per year, or is that?
Here. Sorry,
Okay.
I should have mentioned, yes.
No, it's okay. I was just wondering, because it seems like we've heard the recent news, especially because being at the zoo is a very public situation. Let's see.
And that's countywide, so not just the land park area.
And then with the H5N1, it is good to hear that it's mild human illness, and we can help by being vaccinated for the regular, quote-unquote, seasonal flu. But I wonder, are the human farm workers that are getting sick, is that just animal-to-human transmission, or is it indeed showing human-to-human transmission?
Thank you. Very good question. It's so far it's just shown to be animal-to-human.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, sorry, I did have one more, but maybe just, is there a place you can point us to? I remember last year you talked about these blue zone opportunities, and it was a late breaking thing that was just coming, and the neighborhoods were going to be announced, so I'm sure there's been a lot of work since then. Is that on the county's website, or?
We do have a website, and I can certainly point that to you. And I probably should have included an update. So we finished the assessment, but the next phase does require additional funding because the state, the money that we got was only for the assessment piece. And so for the implementation, there is additional money, and we're still looking at being able to get partners. But it so happens that the partners we're looking to are the health plans, and they have their plates full in terms of they're trying to implement CalAIM. They have a lot of additional requirements that DHCS has put on them. So they're more focused on that now, but it's something that we're still hoping that at some point we'll be able to pick up and run with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do any other commissioners have any questions? Great. So the next item on the agenda is the Sacramento County Sustainability Update by John Lundgren, the Sustainability Manager. And we appreciate seeing your face in person this time.
Good evening. Hi. I'm John Lundgren, Sustainability Manager for the county. I have just one announcement for you tonight, and that is something you're well aware of, but for your just reminder and for the public who might be listening, the Sacramento County Climate Action Plan is scheduled in front of the Board of Supervisors on November 6th. So not November 5th, which is Tuesday, the regular board day. It's a special session, November 6th. It'll be in the afternoon. We don't have a time yet, but as soon as the agenda posts to the county website, we'll know the time. It'll be in the afternoon after 2 p.m., most likely, if that helps people manage their calendars. So we, staff, very much looking forward to seeing an opportunity to have that approved. It will assist me in my job very much by having a very large policy document supporting the efforts that we've been taking in Sacramento County to advance our work on climate action. And that's the end of my comments, unless you have any questions for me.
Do any commissioners have questions or comments?
I have a question. Where is the county on incorporating or not the alternative regarding carbon neutral new development?
That is a part of the CAP. So that will be part of what's put in front of the Board of Supervisors as staff's recommended course of action for approval. So if the board sees fit to approve that, when they hear the CAP and they see fit to take that action, we will have the proper paperwork resolution in order to make that part of the CAP.
So will that be, when it goes before the board, will that go before the board as a separate vote, or it's going before the board as part of the final document?
That's the latter, correct. It's part of the package that will be proposed as the action item that the staff is taking to the Board of Supervisors.
Excellent. Well, thank you for the update, and thank you for all of your hard work in preparing the document as well, and for considering the commission's comments in preparing this final draft.
Thank you. I think I heard you say, and if not, it doesn't matter, but I think you might have said carbon neutral new development, and staff wants to stress that we're saying carbon neutral new growth. And so the difference there is new development would mean growth that is occurring outside the county's urban services boundary. So these would be your large master plans that are seeking to expand the county's growth boundary. That will not be a requirement for carbon neutral infill development, for example. So it's a very important minor thing that I just remembered to pick up on. You actually helped me to remember that. So the proposal is for carbon neutral new growth. So these would be for the expanding communities that have applications in or any other ones to come.
Thank you for that clarification. I'm glad to know of the distinction, and I'm sure we all are and can carry that forward in conversations we all have. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
One quick comment, John. Excuse me, I got a cold or something. I apologize. As I mentioned with the folks that got the awards, you got persistence beyond reason. Thank you very much for hanging in there and making it work.
Well, I appreciate that. It is my day job. The people that got the awards, this is probably their extra, so they deserve a lot of credit.
Great. Thank you so much, John. We definitely appreciate your work. I know the CAB is a big process, so we appreciate you considering our comments throughout that as well. It looks like we have 2 draft minutes to approve. So item 8 is the approval of the draft minutes from August 19th, 2024.
Move to approve the minutes.
Jacqueline seconded. Thank you. Jill, can you take a roll call?
Stephanie Holstich,
Aye.
Christine Casey,
Aye.
Dr. Anthony DeRicci. Aye. Richard Hunn,
Abstain.
Eugene Lee,
Aye.
Gage Marchini,
Aye.
Jacqueline Todak,
Aye.
Mark White. Motion or vote passes anyway.
Thank you. And then the next item on the agenda is approval of the draft minutes from August 26, 2024.
Move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. Jill, can you please take roll call?
Stephanie Holstich,
Aye.
Christine Casey,
Aye.
Dr. Anthony DeRicci,
Abstain.
Richard Hunn,
Aye.
Eugene Lee,
Aye.
Gage Marchini,
Aye.
Jacqueline Todak,
Abstain.
Mark White.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the EMD Director's Report by Janea Monasterio, Director of the Sacramento County Environmental Management Department.
Good evening, SEC. Thank you so much for having me here. So I just have a couple quick updates that I wanted to brief you both on. We've got a lot of stuff going on with EMD. I say that pretty much every meeting, and it is true. We always have something going on. But there's a couple bits of things that I wanted to present. First is the passage of AB 1776. And so this will be effective January 1st, 2025. And what this bill does is it allows for the sale of food in cannabis lounges. And so this is going to be a new program for EMD, not new in the sense that we do food inspections at any facility that serves food, but this will be a new industry or business type that we'll be permitting. So I do want to make it clear that we will not be permitting any of the cannabis activities. We will only be permitting the facility for the sale of food and having food on site. So it's just like any facility. We're just going to be looking at the food aspect of it. The second thing I wanted to bring up and give you guys an update on is the proposed sidewalk vending ordinance. And so what this is this will be a county ordinance that will be brought to the board in January 2025 as well. And this will be with the combined effort with EMD and also Community Development Code Enforcement and business licensing. And this is creating another license for sidewalk vending operations. So those vending operations will still need a health permit, and then they'll also need a business license for vending operations. Most of what we see for sidewalk vending is food. However, this would encompass any type of sidewalk vending. So food would be included under that umbrella. So we're happy to see that move forward. We've been working with the cities across the county on sidewalk vending operations to ensure that those vendors have the necessary information so that they can safely vend food and that they know what the regulations are so that we can keep our community safe. So with that, those are my 2 big updates, and I'm ready to answer any questions that you have.
What would a license require differently than your food inspection?
So the license would fall under business license, so it would be a type of business license. So a lot of the food facilities have a business license and then they have a health permit. So that would be the distinction.
A question regarding, we heard the presentation on avian flu. Do we do any monitoring of raw milk sales in the county?
No. So, I mean, as far as EMD is concerned, we do not. So we're mostly in the retail section of it. So we would be in grocery stores and places where it's being for sale to the consumer, that it's meeting, say, temperature and storage requirements, not so much the manufacturing. That's another department.
With the passage of AB 1776 being a new requirement, will there be a need for more resources to perform these activities?
So far, no. And the reason for that is within Sacramento County, the only area where cannabis sales are occurring is in the city of Sacramento, and there aren't too many of them. However, if we see that inventory increase and that workload increase, then that would be a justification to hire more staff. But at this point right now, we can absorb it with our current staff.
Thank you. Do any other commissioners have any questions?
Were there any particular issues with sidewalk vendors that led to pushing this ordinance?
Yes. Well, so sidewalk vending, in terms of, there's been some legislation in the past few years that have opened up sidewalk vending. And so in 2018 was the bill of, 946, which really wanted to promote sidewalk vending. And that's where you saw code enforcement typically pull off and not do as much enforcement because they had allowances to do more sidewalk vending. COVID-19, when the pandemic happened, there wasn't too much of that going on within the community. And what we're really looking at is most likely, as the restrictions were lifted, the economy's coming back, there's more people looking for economic opportunities, business opportunities, that sidewalk vending has really increased. And so they're needing to have some sort of regulations on it or some sort of parameters so sidewalk vending doesn't become a health and safety concern. So for example, one of the requirements in the ordinance that's being proposed is not to block the right of way. So if we have a sidewalk that's 4 or 5 feet and there's a vendor set up in it, then people aren't able to move freely on that public right of way. So that would be something that code enforcement would be looking at and have more ability to enforce upon so that it's in a safe place.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your update. The next item on the agenda is a report on any SEC commissioners' monitoring of environmental issues and agencies. Do any commissioners have any updates? Richard?
Yeah, thanks, Stephanie. Last July, we had a meeting where I raised the issue of many county agencies don't even know who the Environmental Commission is. And they were surprised to hear about us and what our responsibilities was. And so I raised this at our July meeting, and Chair Nickerson asked that I put together a framework to how we could approach improving our outreach or conducting outreach. So far I've been able to put together concepts of a framework. And I ran these by Mark White a few months ago. And what I'd like to do is carry this forward into 2025 and set up a committee that can hone these to actual implementation ideas and bring them back to the commission for adoption. And I think one of the key things that we have failed to do, not only, we've reached out to our elected officials, but we haven't reached out to the individual agencies of the counties and the cities who may have direct interest in what we think, or we maybe have more concerns about what they're implementing. And so I would like to be able to identify who those agencies are, key persons within the agencies we may want to meet with, and how could we go forward to improve our communications with them. So if it's okay with the rest of the commission, I'd like to be able to schedule that for 2025.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a great idea. Do we need to vote on, we don't have to vote on that, right?
So you can form a subcommittee without a vote.
Are there any volunteers to be on that subcommittee? Mark? Richard? Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, we can add on more later as 2025 approaches. Any other commissioners have any updates? Christine?
Not necessarily an agency update, but perhaps environmental issues. Since this came before the commission a few months ago, I cannot remember the group, Safer California Consumer Products, but the Responsible Textile Recovery Act, Senate Bill 707, authored by Senator Newman, did pass. So I know that was one of their one of their efforts, in addition to some of the one-time use containers, camp propane stoves, things like that, things that are harder to recycle. I don't know the details of what passed. It's not going to completely overhaul the fast fashion industry, but put some parameters in place for how we can have sort of extended producer responsibility in the fabric space. So if anyone wants to read up more on that, Senate Bill 707.
The Water Forum has been awarded a $650,000 federal grant to study and design up to 30 acres of enhanced habitat for juvenile salmonoids along a 17-mile stretch of the Lower American River. And they will do this as part of their ongoing salmonid habitat enhancement program. And also, I just want to comment, I don't know if everyone had an opportunity to review the final version of the CAP, but I looked at it at least sort of tentatively and was happy to report that ultimately our comment letter made 3 recommendations, and all 3 were addressed by the county. I think that's a remarkable accomplishment of our board, who put in a lot of work to preparing those comments and making sure that the final ones that were submitted were meaningful and helpful to making the CAP better. So kudos to everyone for their participation in that. I do think, sadly, we didn't get the final version until Friday, I think. So we didn't have time to have an action item on the agenda to support, to vote on whether or not to write a letter of support. But hopefully we will see at our next meeting that the CAP was passed by the county. So fingers crossed.
But we can individually submit comments encouraging the adoption of the CAP.
Certainly, we could all individually submit them in our own capacities, not as the Sacramento Environmental Commission. But those are my updates. Thank you all.
I got a question. Regards to the Water Forum, what do you think about approaching them and asking them for a field trip to the habitat restoration areas on the American River for the commission?
I think that sounds fun. What I mean to say is I think that sounds like a very great educational opportunity for the commission to learn about one of our local agencies that we monitor and understand more about what they're doing on the American River. I think that's a great idea.
Okay. Maybe.
Are you asking me to do that?
Well, that's Jill and or Gage, yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Jill.
So I just had 2 updates. So one is that I saw through my employer, who's a member of the South Natomas Transportation Agency, that they're having additional public meetings on the urban forest plan. So I know public comment period closed over the summer, but they're engaging. I just got one through my employer, so it wasn't a formal announcement, but I'm guessing that they're doing that with a bunch of smaller groups across the city. And then there is also a urban agriculture incentive program that they're offering also within the city to provide basically a subsidy for small parcels to convert them into urban agriculture. And that grant program ends, our applications are due by November 1st. And those are my updates.
Go ahead, if anyone else has any updates.
Yes. I had reported about Elk Grove's e-bike lending library program, and I have some great numbers to report out. So there were over 320 people who actually put in a request to check out an e-bike, and we only have 20 bikes. But the other part was an e-bike voucher program. And so we already had sent out 217 e-bike vouchers to some residents, and they're ready to use those vouchers. The program was oversubscribed. We had actually had received almost 2,000 applications to purchase e-bikes. Yeah.
That's awesome. What an incredible program. Any other commissioners have any updates?
I don't know whether this is a comment, a question, or something we want to ignore. A few years ago, before COVID, we got together in December for Environmental Commission luncheon. It wasn't easy to set up, but it was fun. Do we want to try to do that again this year?
Yeah, I actually had that listed to talk about under commissioner comments. So I was thinking that too, like a holiday luncheon. I think we talked about it for a few years, but we haven't done that, and I'd be interested in doing that. Jill can probably organize dates that work for that for everybody. I just had one update in this category. So I just wanted to, since our commission has taken a special interest in plastic issues, Senate Bill 270 passed, which is a plastic bag ban in California. So it's a real bag ban, unlike the one that was passed like 10 years ago or something. So in January 2026, grocery stores will not provide plastic bags, only paper bags or reusable.
Stephanie, I know of your interest in the plastic, obviously. Is there anything going on at the federal government level?
I'm not sure, really. I think California has really taken a leadership role in plastic pollution issues. I think we're actually like one of the leaders in the world for that. So we're lucky that we live in a state that cares about these issues.
So then that brings up, how about Europe and Japan?
I don't know about Japan, but Europe has a lot of laws on plastic pollution for sure and recycling. I think Japan has a really organized recycling methods, like per color for like the plastic recycling, so it's more efficient. Any other questions? Yeah, I'm going to do that one now. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is commissioner comments. Do any commissioners have comments at this time? Go ahead, Christine.
Yes, last week or 2 weeks ago, Commissioner Hunn and I attended the Sacramento County Boards, Commissions, Committees, and Councils Appreciation and Training event. It was a good opportunity to brush up on those Form 700 skills, get a small snack, nothing reportable, don't worry. And also to hear about the open positions that are available on other boards, councils, committees, and commissions. I can never remember all of them. So yeah, there are a lot of opportunities to help the county on these various organizations. And so they encouraged us to reach out to our networks and let that be known that because a lot of times folks don't know that there's ways to plug in and engage. And was able to see John Lundgren there. Also, I wish I had seen Jill because I just also want to give her a special shout out. I know already during today's meeting, we're like, Jill can do it. Jill can do it. And I know this is not easy. And she's always saying, oh, well, you are volunteering your time. But I know that Jill, our staff, our commission secretary, also has a full-time job of staffing the environmental management department, and helping a group of volunteer commissioners is no small feat in keeping us all together. And all the work she does, especially leading up to the environmental awards. I just want to say I really, really appreciate all her work that she does for us and helping us coordinate the commission and working on potential lunches and seeing how we do that to keep it open to the public under all of our rules and regulations, and helping us with out educational field trips and outings. So just wanted to give her a shout out for that. So thank you, Jill.
In front.
Mm-hmm.
You have a red button.
The panic button right there.
This button?
Let me see. Yours is good. All right. Sorry to bother you folks, but you went off. No, there's good.
No, there was a panic button.
I didn't even see that there.
Well, it was a good test run. The system works.
So yes, just to conclude again, while we're all excited about accidentally setting off an alarm, I would like to start a round of applause for Jill Kane, our commission staff secretary.
Okay.
Just to follow up on your description of that appreciation meeting, they did mention Form 700, but they also spent about 45 minutes talking about conflicts of interest. And I think that was the highlight of the meeting, that the attorney for the county council spent that much time to make sure that we are all aware of our obligations to avoid conflicts of interest. That's all.
Any other final commissioner comments at this time? Okay. It was Jill, the troublemaker.
She was so
All right. Well, our next meeting is November 18th, 2024, at our regular location. Thank you all so much. That concludes the commission meeting.